Cavalier faithful, Darius Garland and company have arrived in the postseason. What a great bounce back win. We're going to get into it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cleveland Pulse. This is Cavs Encapsulated. My name is Jeffrey. Justin is next to me. Logan is down below. We are your Cavalier crew, bringing you a recap of Game 1 and Game 2 of this first-round matchup between the number 4 seed Cleveland Cavaliers and the number 5 seed New York Knicks. Justin, I want to start with you. One word to describe Darius Garland's performance last night.
I'll just go with spectacular.
Spectacular. Logan, do you have a word?
Needed.
Okay, I was going to say gritty because I think he played pretty good on both sides of the basketball.
Yeah.
As far as adjustments, I just want to talk about really adjustments from Game 1 to Game 2, what you guys saw last night, and where do you think it goes for the remainder of the series? Justin, we'll start off with you.
I think we owe JB an apology, and maybe not an apology because maybe this was all in the idea of what the playoffs are and not what the play-in is, because you go back to the play-in last year and you run into that idea of if you don't have your for sure 8 guys, you're running into problems. You're running into, the problems that you ran into Game 1 of this New York Knicks series. And it's great to finally get into the playoffs and be able to see game by game by game, be able to kind of like really get into the minutia of, I really want to talk about Game 1 and Game 2, because you look at Game 1 and you look at it and you're like, man, this is a game that the Cavs beat themselves. Because if you go and look at Game 2, that's what the Cavs do. That's a Cavaliers basketball game if I've ever seen one. You get a Cavalanche in the middle and you just play great defense throughout the whole game. I mean, it's honestly, last night couldn't have been more eye-opening than what it was. So
fair enough. I do like the point about the series, the longevity of the series. Logan, you've been pretty reserved in the group chat as far as, general thoughts. Let me paint the picture for you. Not only does Garland go for 32 and 7, you have a good performance from Donovan Mitchell, of course, with 17 points and 13 huge assists. Felt like every assist had huge momentum. But to cap it off, Caris LeVert, 40 minutes off the bench, which is the most play minutes of anybody last night. 24 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 4 or 9 from 3-point. Take it away from there.
I first want to start with, I didn't think JB had it in him, if I'm going to be honest. After that first game,
me neither.
Watching him throughout the years that he's been here, he's not good at making adjustments. And I was worried first time in the playoffs, is he not going to make the adjustment? Caris LeVert was fantastic. That's the LeVert we need. We need the guy who's pissed off knowing that this Knicks bench is supposed to be better than us. And honestly, the Knicks bench hasn't totally killed us yet. I mean, obviously, Emmanuel quickly has the capability of going for 20. Isaiah Hardenstein's been kind of difficult at times. I just feel like they're playing like, I know you're supposed to go like 8 deep, but New York almost has like advantages going a little bit deeper. That's just kind of my opinion, but that's neither here nor there. But when it comes to the Cavaliers, we're just talking about the Cavaliers' performance. The 2 big adjustments I saw last night, Danny Green is massive. To me, yes, LeVert had a great day. Darius had a great day. I just think when Danny Green was out there, I just felt better. Just having a veteran who's been there, who's can get up and down the floor, defend, knock down threes if need be. But I just felt really good with Danny Green on the floor. And that was one good adjustment. The second good adjustment was doubling up Jalen Brunson. That guy does not like contact. And yes, he will flop most of the times and try to get himself a foul. But if you were just doubling him up, getting him into his jersey, in the playoffs, they don't call that nearly as much as they would in the regular season. The little bumps, the little bit of checking, they're going to let that go. So if the Cavaliers can keep that up, if they can take Brunson out of the play and double him up, make him give up that basketball and continue to play someone like Danny Green, guys who have been there in the playoffs, the Cavaliers are going to be fine. That Game 1 was really disappointing. Not a lot to like when you talk about Game 1. I mean, I think I had to scream at my father for 5 minutes on the phone after the game just to get it all off my chest. But we'll see. This is a very interesting series. It could be over in 5 games. This could be over in 7. Like I can't tell, did the Cavaliers figure out the Knicks last night, or is it just one of those games where one team desperately needs to get a win so they play their very best? Definitely fun first 2 games.
I have a couple of points here because I do want to give JB credit. Ultimately, with that being said, you guys know how I am. I don't good on JB. I think he did pretty much everything correctly last night for the most part, if I could think about it. But was it really, were the adjustments like really super revolutionary? Like,
No.
of course, don't play Dean Wade. Of course. Like, I just feel like he was so bad in game 1 that he was really good in game 2, but it kind of just it juxtaposed itself in that sense. Number 2, Logan, as far as us figuring out the Knicks. The NBA, we can't come out and play. I think you have to have a different game plan again in game 3. I think if you try to run this similar game plan, and even if it's maybe not trapping all the time, I like the trapping. I do. I think Jalen Brunson's a shorter guard. He can't see out of it. He can't see over the top of it. And if you're late into an offensive possession with the shot clock, it just hurt him all night last night. But Thibodeau's going to make adjustments. So if his adjustments are to cater what we did to game 2 and we don't make any adjustments, we're going to be in the same spot we were in game 1. So maybe it's not rotation wise, because I think these are your guys right here. You got to play Danny Green. You got to have some semblance of Jetty Osman. I can't believe I'm saying that. You need a 3-point shooter out there. And LeVert, and a guy I pretty much dogged on the whole second half of the year. LeVert is your X factor in this series because he gives you the potential to score. People were on me on social media because him and Okoro, the first game, both played really bad, shot really bad, but teams don't even give any upfront respect to Okoro. LeVert, you actually have to play defense on, you actually have to guard, and you know that he's a threat to take you off the dribble. Okoro's never been that guy. Sure, he shot good, high 30s, 40% from 3 the second half of the season. That's all good and dandy. If you miss your first couple of shots and then you're gun shy, you're pretty much not worth anything out there to us offensively. And we saw that either Brunson is going to get a mismatch where he's good, or someone else is going to step up and play physical defense on him. Like you said, Logan, it's the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, this is the NBA playoffs. It's a whole different ball game. What I think I appreciated the most is that New York punched us in the mouth and we punched back. I was kind of worried we were just kind of lay down. I'm not saying we lay down and lose the series. I'm just saying I didn't think we were going to really match the attitude. And I like the focus that we had yesterday. I've never seen Darius Garland play such good defense.
Have you ever seen him come off the dribble and try to dunk like that? I've never seen him. Never seen him try to do that.
Why are you guys taking my fucking points? I hate you both. I now have a new saddest moment in all Cleveland Cavaliers history. It is the dunk that never was. I can't believe they didn't go back.
Been crazy.
I can't believe they didn't go back and overrule the fact that he had his hand in the net when the ball was going down, and they didn't call it goaltending. Because I wouldn't have cared, after the fact if they called it a dunk, because then at least it would have gone down as a dunk. But now he had to shoot free throws.
Okay, hear me out, Justin. The dunk that never was, that dunk by Darius Garland or LeBron on top of Draymond Green, Game 7, 2016.
Game 7.
It's awesome. It's awesome, but I just guess with me,
finals, this is a first round.
Jeff knows this. I link myself to players really strongly.
Sure.
He knows this with me and Baker. That was my thing with the Browns, and now it's me and Darius. Going back to last year before he took his jump, I was I hope that he's the guy who pops off this season and everything, and that's just how it is with me. But the other thing I want to talk about with giving credit to JB and with what Jeff was talking about with Okoro and LeVert, you have to give him credit for what he did last night, where he just kept Okoro off the floor after he essentially fouled out. Once things started going for LeVert, and now there's a quote out there that JB was asked about Okoro's position moving forward with the lineup. It very strongly suggests that Okoro is going to either be out of the rotation or have a very, very limited role moving forward. So I think as someone who tried to defend Okoro for as long as I could, Jeff's right. If the dude can't shoot the 3 ball, and here's the biggest problem. He came off of an injury, which we historically know with Okoro, when he comes off an
Takes
injury,
forever for him to shoot good.
he's awful coming off of injuries. He has to get back into a rhythm. And unfortunately, we're in the playoffs. There's no time for that, There's just no time for it. And we'll see what happens with him moving forward. But LeVert's probably going to be moving into the starting lineup. And I don't know if I'm going to love that because, again, we're still talking about the bench aspect of things, but we'll see.
We're going to talk about game 3 kind of thoughts, if there's anything that's going to be different. Spoiler alert. This is, it's the playoffs are doing stuff out of the box that logically makes sense. And I love the Cavalier fan base, and I think that the NBA fan base as a whole is pretty entertaining and fun, but people really do not understand the difference between the regular season and the playoffs in the NBA. As far as other sports, it might not be too much of a difference, obviously little tinkering here and there, but the NBA is the single biggest jump from the regular season to the postseason as far as major sports in the United States, with changes, adjustments, so on and so forth. Dozens of replies. Oh, let's not go away from after game 1. Let's not go away from Okoro. He needs another opportunity. We do not have time for this. It's not game 20 in December or whenever. And he could go 0-for-5 and we could be like, oh, he had a bad shooting night. We'll see him in Detroit on Tuesday. No, we need to win 4 games to advance. And if you lose 4 games, you are done playing. I cannot be, it's like, who's going to step up and make shots? I need somebody who could put the ball in the basket in crunch time. This is how the NBA playoffs work. But the spoiler alert for me, I'd consider starting Lamar Stevens at the 3 in game 3. And he hasn't played. I don't think he's played at all. Has he played a minute yet in this series?
No, he has not.
So that seems a little bit crazy, but Okoro, the only time I'm having Okoro on the court, and this is what I want to stress moving forward as well, is that we really haven't had anybody in foul trouble. The Knicks had people in foul trouble game 1, and I promise you, the Knicks team is a bunch of fake tough guys. They love Thibodeau loves to talk about the physicality. They like to run their mouth. They're really not interested in being that physical. They like crashing the glass, and that comes off as this physical nature. You saw it last night. Randall doesn't really like being knocked on his ass. Every time Brunson gets hit in the face, you think his eyeballs rolling around on the ground the way he looks. They could not handle the bully ball last night, and I get it. They're a little bit bigger than us. Randall's a little bit more developed than Evan Mobley. Mitchell Robinson's a better offensive rebounder than Jarrett Allen, so on and so forth. But when we put together concerted effort defensively and we boxed out and we didn't give up on plays, it was such a simple game.
It was. I mean, it really is. That's kind of the best way to talk about it is we realized and it sounds simple, like, oh, if you play your game, you're going to win the basketball game. No, that's not exactly what I mean. But like clearly they found the holes in this Knicks team. Frustrate Randall because he doesn't play well when he's frustrated. And 2 is double up Brunson. And the problem is, like, I know, like you said, Jeffrey, that the Knicks are going to make adjustments. Tom Thibodeau is going to make adjustments. But right now, with the safety valve, when Brunson gets doubled, is throwing it to Mr. Robinson, foul line extended, and he has no idea what he's doing. Could they make that adjustment? Sure, but I think that's why the Cavaliers purposefully bring Jarrett Allen to double or Evan Mobley to double. Mm-hmm. So you're leaving Mr. Robinson to kind of figure out what to do with the basketball once he has to get it from Brunson. Obviously, the rotations were awesome last night, the way they're moving and helping each other and creating turnovers, creating havoc. But I think that is like when you just dumb it down, the 2 best players are Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. You take those guys out of the game, you're going to win the game. That's basically what happened last night. Didn't hear much of Randall or Brunson in the second half. They sort of just disappeared after the Knicks got that 12-4 start, and I was losing my damn mind in the group chat. At the beginning
in game one, not that anybody played particularly good basketball. Game 1, you had a good performance from Brunson, a decent performance from Randall, and then you have a random, kind of rising up of Josh Hart, and they still only beat us by a couple of points. But continue, Logan.
And they dictated everything, right? That was the thing. We didn't make them earn anything. I mean, they had a couple of tough shots game 1, but Brunson was free to do whatever he wanted. He was free to dribble it around until he finally got the opening. But no, we're shutting that shit off. Come over half court. We're coming, at you. That's what we had to do. And it's simple things. Does it expend a lot more energy on defense? Sure, but it's the playoffs. You got to play each game like it's your last because it could be. So I think the Cavaliers, when they simplify that, take down the two heads of the snake, this Knicks team is very mortal, I guess.
And I don't want to break it to, I don't want to jinx it or be like, this Knicks team isn't good, because that's not the case. But
no, they are good.
We look at, as far as game one and game two, obviously more in game one, we look inward at our own problems. It's easy to do because we've been watching them. But when you get dialed into a series here, you kind of see the body language and confidence of the people on the other team. And you're like, okay, you know, how Knicks fans probably saw Okoro in like game one or LeVert in game one, like Emmanuel Quickly has not played very good through 2 games. Like, they have issues too. Grimes, I don't really know what his role is. Besides that, off the bench, you know, RJ Barrett, he's kind of a sporadic 3-point shooter. Justin, you've always said that he's really not, he's good, but he's kind of their LeVert, I think, your third option, your tertiary option, but I don't know, he doesn't really scare me off the dribble that much with his left hand.
I don't think the Kevin Love and Colin Sexton trade was all that crazy now.
You don't like you did.
Well, I don't think it was all that crazy now, looking at how they're playing.
Well, I mean, maybe. I know that we were linked to him earlier in this season, but it's just one of those things where Thibodeau has to do. I think it's really going to be coaching for 7 games. I think Thibodeau won game 1, JB won game 2. Where do we go from game 3? Do we have any thoughts? Do we want to see anything crazily different as far as offensively, defensively, rotationally? Justin, do we think up like 8 or 10 points with like 3 or 4 minutes left in the second quarter? Do you think that we could get like 3 minutes out of Robin Lopez in a serious situation?
I would rather get 3 minutes out of Isaiah Mobley.
Okay.
To be truthfully honest with you. Like,
I'm just wondering if there's a point where we actually need to have a backup big in the game. I know that we've been doing it kind of a roundabout way, but is there any way maybe we could get better on the glass, both sides, or would that be like a Lamar Stevens thing?
That's my thing. And that's why I always get very upset about like talking about LeVert and Okoro and our guards, is because they just don't rebound. And I don't know why, because you go and you look at Josh Hart and what he did in game 1, and you can't tell me that, you know, Okoro and LeVert can't do the same thing. It's neither here nor there. When it comes to the rotations, I'm very much glad to talk about anyone outside of Wade and Rubio coming off the bench and, you know, providing some sort of spark. But Stevens, you know, you can't tell me he's the guy that you're going to go to and be like, hey, just go and grab rebounds and outlet pass. Like, you have 3 guys in the paint. You have Mobley, you have Allen, and you have Stevens. Just have the guards run. And if you don't set something up, our offense looked great last night. We had so many good looks last night setting up the offense that I'm okay giving up transition offense.
Fair enough. Logan, same questions to you. Is there any viability for Stevens? What do you think about some Raul Neto minutes in this series in a serious manner?
I'm not against it. I mean, obviously,
neither am I, honestly.
Yesterday we didn't play Rubio. Like I said, this Knicks team, they're fake tough guys. So put the real tough guys at them. Neto's a real tough guy. He is. Lamar Stevens, a real tough guy. You know, if we're going to go into New York, that's going to be a hostile environment.
Yeah.
You know, these fans are going to be on you. That's why I think I'm inclined now to start LeVert, because I want to start well. I got to weather the storm, right? That's the reason finally I'm coming around and saying, you know, if he's going to play 40 minutes anyway, like he did in game 2, I guess it really doesn't matter if he starts or comes off the bench, just as long as you have the energy coming off the bench that you need. I'm not against Neto minutes. I think Lopez, if you need a hook shot, he's got you. But we'll see. He pulled up from like 15 yesterday doing that hook shot.
He just can't move. He just can't move very well.
It's got to be so infuriating to watch.
That's the reason he lost his spot in the rotation earlier in the season. He's just older. He doesn't move well. But I do think if someone's in foul trouble, you just need size on a play. You need him to give you a minute at the end of the half to guard Isaiah Hartenstein. I do think he's capable of doing it. But like we know, playoffs, you shorten the rotation. I get it. But I also think the Cavaliers, the the strength that we have is playing certain situational guys in certain situations. If it calls for it, don't feel afraid to throw a guy in there that you probably shouldn't play. Like I don't know. I just feel like the whole you need to stick to 8 guys bull crap is bull crap when it comes to the playoffs. I think that that's kind of the safe way to go. I get like why you do it. I do. But the Cavaliers have many guys that can play in little spurts to give you advantages. Exhibit A, Danny Green yesterday, and he started playing a lot of little spots throughout the game and played.
Need to keep him in the rotation.
Yeah, he's got to stay in the rotation. Any guy that comes off our bench needs to have the experience. Dean Wade shouldn't see the floor again. He shouldn't. I'm sorry. But he probably shouldn't. Only other guys I'd like to see off that bench. Rubio in certain situations, things are out of control. Put him out there. Owl Neto, we need some toughness. Get him out there. Danny Green. Those are my 3 veterans off the bench that need to come in. That was long-winded. Game 3 should be fun.
I totally agree. And like I said earlier, Osman is kind of out there just to be out there. Like he gives you the opportunity where he could hit like 5. He could be 5 for 5 from 3. And he basically is a Cavalanche himself. So no one's banking on it. Like I'm not confident when he's shooting the ball. He's still the weirdest player in the association, I think, as far as all things considered. But game 3, before we wrap up here, let's just talk a little bit being on the road. I think you get to see what this team is made of, what JB has kind of instilled in these guys as far as going on the road. The Knicks are 2-point favorites, and this is Friday at 8:30, I believe. Correct? Let me look. Yeah, 8:30. We're on ABC, Madison Square Garden. Knicks are 2-point favorites. Couple things to monitor before we maybe give a little prediction here. Randall's still not 100%. Josh Hart still not 100%. I think you saw that a lot last night. Interesting things. I don't know. Where do we go from here, Justin? Do you want to give us a little prediction? What are your thoughts for game 3 before we finish here?
I have a fantastic prediction that I think can very much make you happy, Jeff. I'm going to say that this is where you really, like I said at the top about the playoff series and what the play-in is, you don't really get to see what your team is, comprised of in one game. You get Donovan Mitchell, who is your star in game 1, and we know what he can do. Mm-hmm. You get Darius Garland in game 2, and you know that he can do these things. Now it's game 3. We talked about having a big 3 ourselves. I'm going to say Evan Mobley goes for like 20 plus. He's kind of been struggling with like what he's been taking shot wise. I think he's really been forcing a couple of his shots. He needs to kind of just take what he's getting. I think there's a lot of potential for like the 15-foot jumper, the free throw line jumper for him. But I think that's what it's going to be. And I've been very happy with what I told you guys at the beginning of the playoffs. I very much wanted Jared Allen and Evan Mobley to average 10 plus rebounds. They've been doing that. Hopefully that keeps up and Evan can find his shot.
So Cavs win or Cavs lose?
I'm gonna say it's a Cavs win. I'm gonna say we steal game 3.
Okay. We have a Cavalier winner, Logan.
The way it should work, right, is if you're going to lose one of your first 2 games, you'd rather lose the first one. Right? I mean, it's not fun for fans because then we're
good momentum going on the road, though.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But you want to get that momentum. And to me, when you go on the road for your first 2 games, then you want to grab the first one. Get it over with. You have your one back. Now game 4, you're playing with house money in a way. I think the Cavaliers, and I think I was wrong. I was overthinking that. Game 1, I know, guys, I'm saying I'm wrong. I'm never wrong.
Rarely.
Game 1, I expected, the crowd's going to be into it. We got Donovan Mitchell. We're going to take game 1. I should have thought about more. 3 of our guys in the starting lineup have never played in the playoffs, or is it 4? No, 3. And I think I didn't think about that enough. Now I've seen what they can do. They're settled in. They're going to have those jitters in game 1. I first of all, I hope we're wearing the black jerseys in game 3. I want to come in there looking scary, look intimidating. Oh yeah, the black jerseys are sweet.
Yes, sir.
And I do think.
What about the City Edition?
Ooh. Have you come around to this, Jeff?
No, absolutely not.
Oh,
but I see them wearing those for like game 5.
Right, I know the cursed jersey.
They should bring out the city. They should just bring out the City Edition from last year. That'd be hype.
That'd be so
sweet if those just came out of nowhere. But as far as game 3 is concerned, this is the game that I think the Knicks bench can get it right when they're at home. That's what scares me.
Sure.
And so that's why I think this game is going to be the Cavs bench actually surprisingly matching them.
Ooh.
I want 4 triples from Jetty.
I agree.
I want 15 to 20 from Karis LeVert. I want Danny Green to knock down 3 or 4 triples. Get about 33 points from your bench. Even high 20s, I'll take it sometimes at this Cavs bench.
High 20s, we're going to win games.
So this game 3 is the battle of the benches. And I'm really hoping the Cavaliers win it. I'm going to say we grab game 3 in a shocker. Yep. And maybe some people don't see coming.
All right, I'll say Cavs win. Donovan Mitchell, 46.
Wow.
Points.
I mean, he can. He could.
And
I think it's so obvious though that it's going to be Donnie.
Isn't that a little obvious? I think he's got to go. Logan, did you say that? He's going to go ballistic in one of these 2 games. You split here. In the series is reset, and you have to win 2 home games out of 3. It's not that hard. Just win one of game 3 or game 4, and we'll go on with our lives.
Take both.
If you take both, we love it.
I think my biggest thing, and Logan, you know, at the very beginning, the game wasn't going our way. You guys had some choice words to say. The one thing you said is you were worried that they weren't playing with heart, but I mean, from like the 5-minute point or like the 6-minute point of the first quarter on, I've never seen that team play with so much heart. And if they play like that, or at least like a semblance of that in the rest of these games, I would never pick the Knicks to beat us again. But that's what they have to do.
They
have
heard
to play
me,
with heart. Yeah, they heard you, and then they heard Jeff too, especially DG. So. But,
we're not going to leak the text, but they were.
No leaking the text.
Same crap as game 1.
honestly, just comment down below if you want us to leak the text. While you're doing that, though, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It's been Cavs Encapsulated, Cavalier Faithful. Series tied up 1-1. 2 games into this series. We got an off day today, Wednesday, off day today, Thursday. Little 2-day buffer for travel. Then it's Madison Square Garden, 8:30 ABC Friday night. I know we'll be locked in. We'll be glued to the TV screens. I hope you guys will be too. And then I hope you guys come back to the Cleveland Pulse for some analysis and follow-up after that game. That all being said, appreciate you guys for tuning in. And before we see you again, before the Cavaliers face off against the Knicks, 3 most important words, let them know.